Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
I want to be so excited about the game tonight. We
You
got
bet.
the Warriors.
Yes.
We got the Kings.
Woohoo!
And this could be kind of the appetizer before the playoff series. But I don't know if we're going to get tonight with all the playoff permutations and possibilities. Are we going to get a dogfight or a pillow fight tonight, Jer?
Well, it's pretty much a pillow fight at this stage.
great.
Jeez, Jaron.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's disappointing, and you kind of understand it. I get all that, but yeah, this was. You looked a couple of months ago and said, "Boy, that's the game," and now it's here, and it really isn't.
This is the time when you want to have that Mayor's Cup at
Yeah.
stake. If the Mayor's Cup was still at stake,
Oh.
then they would not be, holding people out.
Oh no,
obviously.
Well, the players themselves would.
No,
refuse.
I have to play.
I have to play.
I have to play.
We've got to get the cup.
We got to get the cup.
But if the 2 seed is still in play for the Kings, which it is right now, but then we got Memphis playing Milwaukee tonight. So by the time the Dubs of the Kings tip off, we may have a pretty good idea whether Memphis is going to win that game or not. Would that have any bearing on it? If you're the Kings, wouldn't you still be thinking, well, we still got a shot at the 2 seed, so we want to win this game?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
Just rest people and don't want to show anything.
Well, I mean,
that,
if you could tell me or tell anybody, okay, the 2nd seed will get a better, for sure, get a better opponent. I mean, to me, it's like 6, 7, 8, 9. Who's
Yeah.
what's the difference?
Yeah, but theoretically, you're looking at the second round. You want to have home court in the second round. But, I mean, in the Kings situation, there were 2 games this past week where the Memphis Grizzlies had already lost. And you guys can pick up a game if you beat the Spurs or if you beat the Mavericks, and neither time did they win. So they've already had their chance to get the 2nd seed. I say shut it down, baby. Take number 3 and run.
How much of that is because if you're going to shut it down, how much of that is you want to rest guys, don't want anyone to get hurt? How much of it is I don't want to show the Warriors anything because there's a good chance I'm going to play them?
Well, I think a little of both, don't you think? Really, I'd have to say it's got to be a little bit of both. It does. You could take one side. Boy, if you could go beat the Warriors and establish something, what have you established? You could beat them in a regular season game.
And they haven't played them since what? Like they played them 3 times this year, all October, November. So it's been a long time.
So 2 different teams, and obviously Wiggins is back, but we'll play in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I guess.
Right. That's the
we
plan.
don't know.
Stan.
It could be Zion Williamson where they just keep putting it off.
We'll reevaluate.
Yeah. Well, and again, what do they have that they haven't shown them already? Yeah. Is there more in reserve the Kings have that they don't want to show the Warriors? And just
because they haven't played in so long, and to Jerry's point, they're really right now 2 different teams than they were than the last time they met.
Well, the other thing about resting everybody today, and I assume that means you rest them on Sunday as well, does that mean it's going to be, 10 days when they finally play a game that they haven't played a game? And I know we've talked to players, in the past, it's like they have a couple of days off, and they have to get back into it. It takes them a while to get the feel again. So that would mean these guys won't play in almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would almost think they'll play at least a half a game or something against Denver in the final. I mean,
like the final exhibition game of the football season. Get these guys in there.
Get the varsity in there for the first half, and then JV. Come on, JV. Get the right-hander ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would see that, but the other thing is, the bottom line is if anybody tweaks their ankle, then I'm just going to get roasted because I didn't need to play these guys. But I do think that would be helpful to get them some more game action because they're not going to play again for a long time. And again, if you had designs on the 2 seed, you had a couple of chances, you didn't take advantage. I mean, the 3 seed at the beginning of the season, I didn't really think the Kings would be the 3 seed. Maybe you guys did. I didn't. So I'd say go ahead and take that and move on.
I don't understand that reasoning. Well, you had chances to advance on the 2 seed and you missed them, so just give up?
Yeah.
I mean, if it matters, you
not
still have a shot.
But I don't think to me it doesn't matter. To me, getting the 2 seed isn't that big a deal at this point right now because of the plus minus. The minus is you're not going to play these guys both games. You're not going to play them on Sunday against Denver, and if you do, then you've got 2 games of trying to get them injured or possibility of getting them injured. I think that they want to stay, kind of like stay in the groove a little bit, so you play them a little bit. But I don't think you play them in both games.
Well, the other side of that is just that. I mean, okay, let's go all out, try to get the second seed, and you still don't get it.
Yeah, because Memphis could win tonight, and they could win on Sunday.
So you don't get it. Somebody gets hurt, or you're going into the playoffs kind of beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get. I mean, it's a catch-22. Whatever Mike Brown does, there's going to be criticism for it.
Absolutely.
And my opinion is, if I was him, I'd say, I'm going to do what I think is best to get my team ready to play in the playoffs.
Whatever that happens to
Whatever-
be. Yeah. I mean,
whatever.
he's made pretty much all the right calls all season.
Yeah.
So
as you said, I understand that. Just as far as tonight goes, the little bit of a letdown, but
Oh,
it makes
yeah,
sense.
it is a
big-
letdown,
Because
certainly.
the
Yeah.
Kings have, I think, 7 guys that are listed as questionable tonight, plus I think Slamson and 3 hot dog vendors.
Well, Slamson, if Slamson can't go there,
Slamson
he will
does not.
go.
There's no
He
load
will.
management with Slamson.
no,
Absolutely
Slamson,
not.
Best mascot in the league by far.
That said, it is a very big game for the Golden State Warriors.
huge game.
I think. But again, you get an ice cream headache trying to figure out, well, it depends what the Pelicans do, what the Lakers do, what the Clippers do. Let me ask you this. This is a possibility. It could come down to this for the Suns. Jerry, by the way, not really impressed with the Suns last night, were you?
I wasn't. I mean, they won the game against a depleted Denver team at home. Didn't really look like the powerhouse I was expecting to see.
Yeah,
You
they're
know.
kind of on cruise control too, though, aren't
Yeah,
they?
well, I
mean,
think
they're
they
pretty
are.
much set into what they're going to be. So
Yeah.
And I mean, if they really needed and depended on Chris Paul to have a super offensive game to win, which I say, ooh,
It had 7 threes or something?
yeah.
not
All
going
right,
to happen
you're-
every day.
Putting you on spot. You're Monty Williams. All right?
Monty
And-
Williams, okay.
Yeah. You
Not
got
Monty
his last
McNair.
game of the year. Right.
Yes.
Not Monty McNair,
Yes.
Monty Williams.
Yes.
Are we clear?
Yeah, which Monty am
All
I?
right.
Yes.
So last game of the year, you got the Clippers.
Right.
Okay. So if you lose that game, you play the Clippers in the first round. If you win that game, you play the Warriors.
Okay.
So how does that impact whether or not you're putting your best foot forward? And it could come down to that again. It depends on a lot of other things.
Well,
they could
yeah,
be
but
looking at that
those-
scenario.
That
Or do you I don't care.
I don't know because what if I
You're
play the,
Monty.
I'm Monty Williams.
How can you not know?
Well, because if I'm playing the Clippers, am I playing the Clippers? How many Clippers are there? And if I'm playing the Warriors, am I playing the Wiggins Warriors or the non-Wiggins Warriors?
Probably you're
or
playing the
half,
Wiggins. You
but
have
it
to
would be half Wiggins Warriors because
Yeah.
he's not going to be ready. He's not going to be in game
Or
shape
the-
for that
or
entire
the
series.
half Paul George.
The half ball,
Clippers.
exactly. What Clippers am I getting? So it's you're kind of rolling the dice, I think, on that one. So you decide what's better for you that one game. Should I play my guys or should I not play my guys? And that's the way
And
you
then let
decide.
the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
This is probably one of those situations where you're going to agree with Mr. Basketball.
I am.
Wow. Okay. I do too, actually.
I just think it's great. I just think if you look at it from the other side, what if it's up to the Clippers? If they win, they play Phoenix, or if they lose, they play the Kings. So then all of a
Oh,
sudden,
yeah.
you may have a couple teams going, that's all right. You go ahead and win,
Right.
And that which would be I know that the Kings have been the butt of everybody saying we want to play them, but I mean, if teams are losing on the last day of the season to play you, that's pretty
Those
bad.
things happen, though.
It does,
We
though.
forget
and they're
about 'em.
making their decisions based on what's best for them.
Because
Yeah.
then the playoffs start
Yeah.
and we forget about it, but it
Absolutely
happens at the
forget
end
it.
of the regular season all the time. Teams
Yeah.
do that kind of, they get involved in that kind of shenanigans.
Oh, they do. I mean, it's I don't know. It's a conundrum. I mean, it's no
There you
different
go.
than teams basically saying they're not tanking, but they're tanking.
Right?
Kind of go through the motions of playing the game.
Right.
Well, for the reason of a few more ping pong balls,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to at the end of the season, it's like, well, yeah, we'd rather play this team or that team, and we're not sure.
Well, look at
but
Portland this year. It's like, we're shutting it down early.
We're shutting it
Yeah.
down. Yeah, we're going all out for playoffs when they got Jeremy Grant and they.
Yeah.
Different guys that said, now we're set. We're going
Yeah.
to make a run at
Dane,
the playoffs.
sit down, Dane.
Well, yeah, we got one great player who makes $80 million a year, so I don't think we want him to play anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk
yeah.
about telling your fans something.
Yeah, and the fact that from a standpoint of lottery balls, it really doesn't make any difference to them anyway. They're not one of the worst four.
Right.
So it's like,
Very
why not
curious.
play the damn guy? You're paying him. What reason do home?
You play play to win the game. No, we don't.
But with,
not really.
with that said, if you're the Mavericks, I mean, are they kind of looking at this? Are they? Well, we'd like to make the play-in game because we're paying $80 billion to these guys, but really, we're not going to do
Well, are
anything.
you talking about
Maybe.
the players? Or are you talking about
I'm
ownership?
I'm talking about MC. I'm talking about the guys up in the top. Obviously, the players and the coach are trying
they
to
want
win
to
the
get
game.
in. Mark Cuban would want to get
I
in.
don't know.
you
It
think?
just seems to me that maybe they just, let's just get a number 10 pick or whatever it is, and because this has just not worked out the way we thought it was going to work out.
But I mean, okay, if you made the playoffs, you still get a good pick.
Yeah, because theoretically
it's not-
you're going to be the visiting team in the 9-10 game, so you probably won't go too far.
I would think, Phantom, that it's important to them to make it if they can, and it's not going to be easy because I think the tell on that was a couple days ago. It's right before the Kings played the Mavs. Mark Cuban was talking to the media, and he had to. He's kind of doing damage control.
Yeah.
This is what happened, why we didn't get Brunson, and, we're going to win that protest, which they didn't. But I think everyone now is going, hey, this is awful. What happened? So I think it would, to a degree, soften some of that, insulate them a little bit from that criticism if they actually did at least sneak into the play-in, and then who knows?
Yeah, and
so I would think they want to.
We were talking about it before, Jared. Wouldn't that? I mean, we're talking about the Kyrie Irving conundrum. I guess it's a little easier to think about writing that huge check if you at least make the playoffs. I mean, if you don't make the playoffs with Irving, is it kind of hard to go, okay, we're going to max this guy out? Because what happened? I mean, we're under 500 when he and Luka are playing together.
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, I don't see. First of all, I mean, I think it'd be impossible to justify giving him a max contract anyway.
Yeah,
because at his stage in his career, that's $270 million.
You'll be insulted if you don't, Jared.
Yeah, and
I know.
He
yeah.
may not want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I'd do. I've always said I would go to the Lakers and say,
Yeah.
we'll sign and trade him.
Mm-hmm.
And give me all the guys you got for the other guys.
Yeah, I want Austin Reeves and Jared Vanderbilt and Ra Hachimura.
Yeah.
I want them all.
I want those three guys, and we'll give you Kyrie Irving, and he and James will win the World Championships, at least 3 or 4 more for you.
Yeah, at least.
But we'd be better off, and they wouldn't actually win that many.
Yeah, is he a free agent? He is a free agent.
Yeah.
So
I
if I'm
think
the
he is a
Lakers, why
free
don't I
agent.
just say, I'll just sign him myself?
Well, they could, but they don't probably have the cap room to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
There
to
you
get
go.
the kind of money he wants,
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's probably going to hold out for the most money he can get. I'm thinking.
you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
That's
yeah.
another thing
Yeah.
Cuban said when he was talking to the media the night they played the Kings, and someone asked him about Kyrie. Oh, we want to sign Kyrie. And someone asked him, is he a max player? And Cuban said, I'm not going to negotiate with you. But I think we all agree, as far as Kyrie's concerned, there's no question, right? In his mind, there's no question but that he's a max
Oh,
player.
yeah, there's no question. Come on, there's no question.
No question, and that's exactly like I say. Says he loves being in Dallas, and I'm sure he does. And until the contract talks come up, and if they would give him $270 million, he'll say, "I'll stay."
What a mess.
Yeah,
I'll stay.
yeah. Boy, I really
What a
love it
mess.
here.
Now I'm going to have to take some games off, later
Did
on.
you guys
but-
notice
for
he had that-
various reasons.
I'm not a big Kyrie guy. In fact, I flashed back on something that you said earlier this year because I was saying on the podcast, I don't know why anyone would give Kyrie all that money or why they'd want him on the team. And you said, well, he's really good. And, that fourth quarter is like
Yeah,
another
he
reminder.
is really good.
That's
He
why
is
teams
really
would do
good.
this. But he's going off and he's making everything, and they're up 6 with, 30-something seconds left, whatever it is. And Luka comes down and early in the shot clock takes a 3 and misses
Yeah.
it. And I was
Yeah.
like, and then he fouled at the other end. And I thought, that's a really bad play by someone who's maybe feeling a little bit like, hey, Kyrie's getting all the glory here. It was a bad play.
It was a bad play,
Yeah.
and I thought the same thing, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Because they're the same player. They're both ball dominant guys who are truly outstanding. I mean, I think Luka being younger
Yeah.
and bigger maybe gives him a little bit of an
Yeah.
edge, and already been there, done that. But I just don't think it worked. I didn't think it worked when they did it. To me, Kyrie certainly needs the ball, as opposed to Jalen Brunson, who probably is as good a player as Kyrie, differently, if not better, and he fit better because he could play with Luka, and then when Luka's off the floor, he could run and take.
he could do it, but maybe he just decided, I don't want to, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I think and that and the money.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mavericks never offered him the money that, of course, Cuban says, well, we would have, Well,
We would have.
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
we
Not like that's
would've.
ever happened to me before that I let a
Yeah.
guy get away.
Yeah. Yeah. So the old we would have. Well, that you didn't, and so he took what was offered.
Yes. Yes.
Well, as the philosophy, I'm the head of the philosophy of
Yeah.
defense schmefense. I mean, I do think that in a way it does show you that we can't have two guys on the floor that can't play defense at all. I mean, really, we have to have at least 4 guys who play defense at all times. If I only have 3, I'm really not going to get anywhere, and that's basically what they're teaching you.
Yeah. So
Well,
you're saying,
and you notice too, the Brooklyn Nets are doing quite well.
Yeah. Well, I think even when that was
I
made,
mean-
we kind of said they got a lot back. There's some guys in there that are really valuable. One of them was Player of the Week already. So
yeah.
that's
I mean,
fantastic work.
It's like heck, they're not as good as maybe they would have been had those guys stayed with them and been healthy and tried to make it work. But I think
They're not even a playing team. They're a playoff
They're a
team. right?
playoff
Yeah.
team.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty
so
good.
if you were Cuban, you'd cry uncle, huh? At this point, yeah.
Well,
Just go with that because I have something I want to show you.
yeah, you know what? If I was Q, I'd just go,
You'd cry
I would
uncle.
cry. What
You'd
I'd say
cry
is
uncle.
uncle.
No,
That's
I know
I would
what
say.
I'd do. I'd say it's his fault. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's already doing that.
Yeah, we
I'd
talk
cry
a lot.
uncle.
Old Fashioned 3, we talk a lot about the past here sometimes. And recently I was going through some things at home, and I got a lot of stuff from when I was a kid, and some of it's used to belong to my brothers. So I found something Phantom going through some things, and one of them used to be yours.
Okay.
And it's still yours. That's why I bring it in.
Wow.
I want to see if you know what this is. Most people, I would guess, will have no idea what
Jerry
this
is
is.
looking at me.
Yeah, but how about that, Jer? That's
Oh, yeah, I know
Yeah,
what that is. That's
yeah.
from the Man from Uncle, baby.
Man from
That's-
Uncle.
That
that's
is an awesome
Phantom's
show. That's
Man from
Napo-
Uncle fan club
Yeah.
button?
Yeah.
Is that what that
Well, I don't know what button or whatever it is, but yeah, Napoleon Solo. Yeah, it's a badge. It's my badge.
badge? Now I
'Cause
don't
When you
I
go
think
into
that
Uncle
thing is corroded. I don't think the pin actually works.
United
in the back,
Network Command for Law Enforcement. When you go into the when you go to the headquarters, Mr. Waverly is there. You've got to go. You got to get your badge so you can go into the actual actual headquarters of operations
Yeah.
headquarters there.
So
you know,
you were
Ilya Kuryakin will be waiting for me when I go in there. Yeah.
You
oh,
remember
yeah.
the fan club,
Love
right?
Man from Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Well, I think that's
Man from
yours.
Uncle and Get Smart at the same time. TV has never been
I've
better.
seen those on eBay for around $40 to $60, I think, but I don't know.
Well,
if
I know
that
things have
one's
been
not a
tough for
great-
you lately. I'm glad you didn't try to peddle it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean, Gerald?
no, I could. I mean,
If I saw it on eBay, it would have been a little. Hey, wait a minute, that looks familiar. Well, thank you for that. I will take this
Yeah.
home. It will get a
In
a
2 weeks,
value place.
he'll have no idea where it is.
Well, no, I'll probably be at Stones' house. Yeah,
Do you remember that show, Jerry?
Yeah, I do.
Man from Uncle was a great
I
show.
didn't get a pen or badge though.
Well, I sent in for it. Okay, come on.
Yeah, he was in the Man from Uncle fan club and the Smothers Brothers fan club.
Well, I'll never leave that. Smothers
Yeah.
Brothers fan club. I got my Tommy Smothers signed album cover at Pebble Beach that time. That was one of my favorite things. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right. Anyway, I apologize, but I found that.
No,
I
there's no
wanted
reason
bring
to
that in.
apologize for
Yeah.
bringing an awesome piece of memorabilia.
I think the only thing I remember in those days, the Mickey Mouse Club. You know,
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I had
yeah,
the hots for that Funicello like everybody did.
Yeah, of course you did, Jim. Yeah.
I did. you
No,
know.
I know. I did
And
as
I
well.
and I
Yeah.
kind of and I always thought she's looking at me. You know.
Well, she had her eye on you. Yeah. Well, you were with the ladies in your early days. You were
yeah,
pretty powerful.
well,
Yeah.
and I always knew that if she could, we could meet. It probably would have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was in the stars. It was
Yeah.
ordained.
I think 10 years old.
Yeah.
You could have shown her the badge if you wanted to.
Yeah, if I'd
I'm upset. I don't know
Is
who
that
the
a
first five.
euphemism, or do you mean show her the
I'm
badge?
number 6. And I
Yeah.
wanted to know who the first 5 are.
A bunch of other ones on. I don't want to break your heart, but on eBay they were also number 6. I think there were a lot of. I don't think.
Whoa.
I don't think you were the only
Whoa.
number 6. I'm not sure about
Mine,
that.
mine was the actual number 6. Those other ones were copies.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were
I
clones.
always remember too getting pissed at some of the little the guys that Annette would dance with.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd kick his butt. Man.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, those
right.
guys were wimps.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
I
what was that
remember.
guy,
Remember
Nat?
Spin and Marty? I'll tell you,
Oh,
Spin and Marty. Those
Spin
guys.
was cool.
Oh,
Spin
I
was
like
cool.
Spin and Marty. I did. Yeah.
Tim Considine. Yeah.
Oh, Tim Considine later on in My Three Sons.
Yep.
You guys earlier were you were quite upset actually before we started the pod talking about. I was talking to Stones about something, but I overheard you talking about max contracts, and you're upset about how everybody
The Kyrie
knows
Irving thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
We talked about that a
$270
little
million.
bit, yeah.
We talked about this. I remember talking about this like one of the earliest shows. It's like, some of these guys like a Trey Young or a Bradley Beal, when you actually look at their contract and see that in 2025 they're due for $55 million, and you say, well, at some point there's got to be a breaking point here because you can't pay all these guys all this money. And the guys that we're talking about, I know Kyrie Irving won a title, but right now Kyrie Irving is kind of like out there, and Trey Young and Bradley Beal aren't really equating to winning games for your team, and yet you're on the books for $50 and $60 million down the road. And I know that in the CBA, I thought they were making a provision. Maybe they can have now 3 max contracts on the team as opposed to 2. So they're just pushing the can down the road, and all of a sudden these, we talk about the Warriors all the time when they're payroll, but it's going to be the norm. And these guys, some of these contracts are coming due in a couple of years, and people are just going to be paying $60 million for guys who aren't even really helping them that much.
Well, it's one thing for the a championship team.
Yeah, they have something to show for it.
I was going to say, but it's like the Chicago Bulls. Somebody was writing, "Oh, you got 3 max guys. Do you?
Yeah. You're a playing team. You have 3
you don't
max
have
guys.
3. No, you don't. You might have 3 guys you pay max money to. You don't have 3 max guys.
That's the distinction.
The idea was when the max contract came out, which you knew what would happen.
It was your idea, right?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't.
He was in on it. He's too humble to say that.
Yeah, But it was the idea was, a max contract meant one of 5 or 6 guys in the world. Difference makers. Guys, if you had this guy, a LeBron James or a Durant or Embiid or Jokic, those kind of guys that really makes your team 5, 10, 15 games better, those are max guys.
Yeah. And you want to have them for the whole franchise.
Yes.
You want to have them stay with you all the way through their careers.
But now it's into there's a gap between Antetokounmpo and Bradley Beal in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it was, correct me if I'm wrong, you were involved in this. For one thing, like his max deal and my max deal might not be the same, depending on how long
how
we've
many
been in the
years
league.
of service.
So it just took agents a little bit out of it, right? You didn't have to negotiate with a guy as much because it's like, this is the most we can pay you by rule. So you can't negotiate any higher. So in that respect, it must have simplified things. But now we get to the point where you're, well, am I worth the most you can pay me or not?
Well, simplified it for the actual max players.
Yeah.
In other words,
it's very simple for
Joel,
Jokic. Yeah.
this is all we can pay you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good deal for both. Now here's Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. We want max deals. Well, you're not max contracts. But
Plus we can't
you're not
afford
Joel
to pay it.
Embiid.
Yeah. Right.
See,
right.
You're not Joel Embiid, and I mean Drew Holiday's terrific, but no.
But he's not Giannis.
He's not Giannis.
Yeah.
And if we had Damian Lillard instead of you, would we be as good? Yeah, probably. Maybe not, though. I mean, I'm just saying that. That's what's, and you knew it would get that way because agents, to their credit, they always figure out ways of creating the narrative, and it usually gets in the media who wants to remain good terms with the agents and the players, and so, the old pay him the money. You can't lose him. It's like you can't.
And that's the thing.
Well,
yeah.
actually, you can't. You could afford to lose him if you're overpaying significantly for a guy who isn't that good.
But if you're a team that's trying to convince your fan base that we're trying to win, and you're not that good as it is, and you let a max guy go, I mean, PR-wise, whether it's a smart basketball move or not, it can blow up in your face, right? That's the danger for some of these teams. Everyone thinks that this guy's a max guy, therefore they all think he's really good. We don't think he's that good. But if we let him go somewhere else and that team's good, we end up looking like we don't know what we're doing, and it actually hurts us with our fan base.
Well, there's truth in that. I mean, if, in fact, the guy goes somewhere else and is truly great and makes them a lot better, now that's where the judgment comes in.
Yeah.
Is he that guy? Like I say, Beal to me is a great example. In other words, would Washington been better off to sign and trade or let him go somewhere else and have the cap space? And my answer, yes.
Because they haven't done anything with him.
Yeah, there would be no risk.
Right.
They could win 32 games with him, 32 games without him. But that's where but you're exactly right. That's why I think people end up signing guys to a lot more than they're worth because we can't lose him for nothing. And
we look bad.
Yeah, we talked about Mark Cuban in Dallas, and we talk about Steve Nash all the time, and now Brunson. So there's a couple of guys in those situations that they let go and went other places. But I would argue that they went other places and it worked because maybe it fit better in the new place than it did in the old place, and that's always something you have to consider too. Is some guys aren't going to be max on this team, but they'll be max on this team.
Yeah, but that's a whole team building thing.
Yeah.
It's like, let's say with Fox and Sabonis, they're obviously going to be high paid guys. Well, whoever you bring in needs to fit with those guys. Unless
Like a Keegan Murray, that's why he's so valuable
Keegan
as a
Murray,
rookie.
Yeah, great draft because he's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey's a terrific young player, but it would have just probably created more problems than solved any because, Malik Monk, does he play less? Herter play less? Fox does not get the ball as much.
There's a built-in redundancy to Jaden Ivey on this team.
On this
or
team.
on other teams, it might be. There's a
certainly.
nice spot for a Jaden Ivey.
Well, and for Detroit, he was probably not going to play as much but Cade Cunningham, last year's number one.
Right.
Now, it'll be interesting to see when he comes back healthy. Just could be a little bit of the lower level version of the Tyreek or Luka and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's my ball. Not before I got hurt, I had the ball.
My
You
ball.
mentioned problems. Fast forwarding to the postseason, and obviously we're not sure yet who the Kings are going to end up playing. I noticed some things against Dallas that, from the Kings standpoint, would have concerned me a little. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. I thought Dallas did a good job blitzing Sabonis at times in the fourth quarter and just getting him to get rid of the ball rather than make a play. I haven't seen teams do that a lot. Maybe I've just missed it. I thought they did a very effective job of that to the point where I think they would see more of that in the postseason. Did you see some of that?
I did, and I've seen a little bit of it late here in the year.
Yeah.
And I was always a little bit surprised, to be honest, that we haven't seen more of it earlier in the year. Because you can see it's like, what are they doing all the time? Oh, yeah, they're going to that guy.
Yeah.
And especially in the half court, you can do something about it. Now, in transition, where he's pushing and making plays, which is really unique, but you can't really hard to go get that second guy on him. But when they're in some sort of a half-court set, transition hadn't worked, then you can certainly do some things, and especially a lot of it too. More teams are zoning, and there again, then it's easier to deny a high post kind of guy in with the zone.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier with him and this style of play. We talked about getting the plan B, getting plan C, and doing that. And that would be something that tonight, if the teams are going to hold something back, as we talked about, I'm the Warriors, I don't do that tonight.
Right.
Because I might play in the next round. I don't do that tonight. If Sabonis plays, obviously.
Except they have to win tonight.
They have to win tonight, but then I'm still going to be a little bit hesitant to do that. I'm going to hold a little bit back, and you're right, they do have to win. And if Sabonis is playing, you think the Kings are putting on at least a half of a concerted effort. But, that might be something you don't do as often, because even when you're doing it, you don't do it every play. You don't do it every time down the court. You vary it.
You
give them different looks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, see if you think it'll work. You might do it in the first half, or maybe just late in the game.
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly.
But I think, too, it's like, say, that's where the Warriors, probably hope he doesn't play, obviously.
Right.
Easier to win, number one, and we don't have to show.
We don't have to show.
We don't have to show anything. But, yeah, I do. I could see, and for the Kings, if I'm the Kings, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to see more zone. I'm going to see more of this type defense against Sabonis. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say, if they're zoning, Domas, move the ball quicker.
Yeah, get rid of it before
as
they
good
can
as
bring
you
that.
are, which he likes to hold it and find open guys. Nobody does. He's great at it and it's unselfish, but it's like, no, you can't do that now.
Did you notice there was one play, and I'm not sure I saw this right because you can't hear what they're saying, but he got the ball and they blitzed him, and Keegan Murray had thrown them the pass, and then Keegan Murray just kind of faded, and Sabonis, I think he was called for a turnover, or they lost the ball. On the way down the court, he was very emphatic to Keegan Murray, and I think he was saying, when you throw me that pass, cut to the basket.
What you have to
dive
do, yeah,
to the
you got to
basket.
keep moving. Yeah.
If your man's doubling me, then you got to go to the basket.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's but that's why you also have to move it before I always say the double team's only effective when he's there. You want to, once he's coming on, you move the ball before he gets there.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you've got that defense in a split second of disarray, right? When a guy is coming to do something but not there yet.
Well, it's like I always thought, like double teaming great players like an Akeem Olajuwon or something, you'd have to do it in different ways. Sometimes
Right.
you might early in the game you might double him on catch. As soon as he caught it, go double him. Well, then later.
But he'll catch on to that. Yeah.
Yes, he will.
Exactly.
And
So
then
give him a different look later. Yeah.
Then you double him on dribble. First time he puts the ball on the floor. And like with Olajuwon, great as he was, that was more of a problem for him.
Really?
So you kind of knew if you're in a position
Right.
to maybe win, you're going to hold that back. But we're not going to double him on catch, but he will put the ball on the floor high percentage of the time. I mean, and then to get into his dream shake even. And so run that guy at him then once he's put on the floor, he doesn't want to pass it in that situation. So
Yeah.
so something different.
You know, Mr. Basketball, a lot of people look at the Kings and they say this team hasn't been to the playoffs, so
Correct.
lack of playoff experience could be an issue. But they do have a number of players who've been to the postseason, right? Sabonis and Herter. I think Monk has he been in the postseason? Barnes has been in the postseason. But to me, the fact that their coach has been through a ton of postseason and
Right.
finals games, I know that's not the same as having a unit that's been through these things, but I think Mike Brown, especially if they play the Warriors, I think his postseason experience could be a huge advantage for him.
Absolutely agree, and I have gone on record saying I want them to play the Warriors in the first round just because I think that would be the most entertaining series and I want to watch it. But I'm not like everybody I'm hearing, which is the Warriors would walk over that series because it's Warriors, Lakers, and Suns. If you listen to any media, those are the
Sounds
three
like
teams.
you were watching ESPN today.
Those are the three teams. Well, the last couple of years, that doesn't matter. But those are the three teams that people talk about. But I don't really think, especially
They had a
with
thing
the,
today on who's the best team in California, and I guess the Kings didn't get a lot of love.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know this. If Malik Andrews says we're not a threat, then that's it.
It's all over.
Okay.
Don't
well,
even
all right.
play the
Yeah,
game.
so everybody has their
But
one
I'm sorry,
person.
I interrupted.
No,
you.
but I just think I would personally like to see that series because of the entertainment value, but I don't necessarily think the Warriors are going to march in and take over the Kings. I think the Kings have a great chance to win that series, and part of it is because I don't think Wiggins is going to be totally 100% even through the whole series. The way they deploy him, who knows? But the other thing is Mike Brown. You know, obviously they know Mike Brown, but Mike Brown knows the Warriors like few other people do. And I really think that's going to be invaluable when the series rolls around, what Mike Brown knows about what the Warriors do. And especially we're talking about how they attack certain situations and stuff. Well, he has an inkling into that. And I think that's a valuable asset for the Kings.
Could be similar to the We Believe Warriors, Don Nelson, who knew Dirk so well when that Warrior team played Dallas.
Yeah.
And they upset him in part because Don Nelson knew exactly which way Dirk was going to turn every time he caught the ball and had prepared his team to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there's a lot to that. I mean, that particular year, Dirk, I think got he get MVP
Yeah.
that year,
I believe
67
he
win
did, yeah.
team, and they
Yeah.
got beat in the first
Yeah,
round.
yeah.
And of course, later on, he kind of made up for it, but everybody was attacking Dirk, but he
Yeah.
was just a player. And Nelly, it's like about Nelly. I mean, he was always ahead of the game creatively, and maybe to his own
Detriment
detriment
sometimes.
sometime. But on that on the Warriors thing, I agree. I do agree with Phantom 100% there. I mean,
Again? Are you sure you want
yeah,
to agree? Again?
yeah, I do. I mean,
You always ask him, and he never backs off.
but I mean, certainly Mike Brown knows them, and does that mean he can stop a Steph Curry? Of course not.
Probably not.
But
I
he,
don't think so.
But he has
No.
some ideas of what he might do in certain situations. Like I say, well, how much do you play Davion on Curry? Can he stop Curry? No, but he can sure make it tough at times. You're going to have to set more screens for Curry than you normally would if Davion's guarding him. I think we've seen that in the past. Well, that's something. That's a little something to add in there. Now, when do you do that? Or it's, like I say, maybe in crunch time situations, or maybe you want to establish it early. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Davion is enough of an issue for Curry and Curry is so valuable to the Warriors. They're still going to get him shots and get him open, but they're going to have to work. They'll actually have to help him get shots against Davion. They don't have to help him against anybody else.
I also would put Davion at times on Poole, Poole doesn't always seem to respond to direct when the defenses are focused on Steph. Of course, he has more room to operate. That just happened against Oklahoma City last week. When the defenses are focused more on him, sometimes, especially when they get a little more physical, he seems to struggle with that. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think if it comes to the series, and it may not apply tonight again because we don't know who's playing or how badly the Kings want to win. I think offensive rebounding is going to be a huge second chance points, and I think we talked about this maybe in the car show. Who's going to be in more foul trouble, Sabonis or Draymond Green? I think that's going to be an absolute huge key to the series if it comes to that.
Well, it probably will come to that, and can Draymond stay on the court, not be kicked out of the games? Which
That's always it's always a key.
Well,
does Mike Brown know about Draymond's his mental state? I mean, Mike Brown probably knows him as well as anybody else. How will he use that? And the other thing I think is that you got to make the Warriors work on defense. And when you've got an offense like the Kings have had all season long, that bodes well for them to make the Warriors work on the other end.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think the Kings are going to score on them. And I think you know those little things are going. The difference is make Curry work a little harder in certain situations. Draymond, if you can get him a little over the top, I mean, in theory, if the referees were actually referees, he'd probably get kicked out the first quarter of every game.
That will be interesting to see how the playoff game is refereed. I mean, it's going to be different than during the regular season.
But if anything, as far as a guy like Draymond, he's going to get even more leeway because, and I know he got thrown out last year against Memphis, but they don't want to throw him out of a game, especially if it's a big televised playoff game.
On the road, maybe they're more inclined to get rid of him on the road.
Well, they'll. I mean, like I say, once he's got that first technical, I think he's allowed to go get a Coke and spit. Throw it on the field.
And he knows that.
He'll get the quick. They'll give him the quick tee to get that on the board. Hey, we are trying to do our best, and then he can literally do anything he wants the rest of the game. That's why he goes out to get the first tee in the first 5 minutes.
He
goes, let me get my tee out of the way, then I got it.
He could draw a gun on an official as long as you don't pull the trigger.
He'd do the last Boy Scout thing.
Moon him. He could moon him. You know.
Sure. Oh yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on. That's what I think of.
They would rescind his other tee for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it should be a lot of fun. So maybe tonight won't be as much fun. Maybe it will be. But if it comes to that series, it's going to be incredible. Phantom, why don't you take us to one of your favorite spots?
We'll go to Jersey City. Well,
see, here's the problem with your
Jersey
premise.
City.
If you're going to Golden One tonight and you want to wear a Warrior jersey, but you don't want to do that, right?
Yeah,
that's the problem with your
I
premise.
know, but when we first started, I said, well, if you're at the Warriors game down in San Francisco, and you said, well, I think it was Portland or something. Well, they're not in Portland. They're in, you got all snippy with me.
I don't.
So
do
I'm just saying, you're going to wear it. You're going to the game tonight. You want to wear a Warriors jersey. The illustrious history of the Warriors. You've got it. You can pick anybody you want. Which Warrior jersey would you wear? That's all I'm saying.
Me personally? Do I begin?
No, you as a collective. Yes, of course you personally.
I've gone back and forth. I wanted to go. Well, I won't go with the two because that might crimp your style. I will go. There was two centers.
We can have honorable mention after we're done.
And I'm going to go with a guy who got traded to the Warriors. And he was not very highly regarded at the time, and he was traded for a great player. And he came in to the 75 Warriors, and he and Rick Barry worked the pick and roll better than like any center forward combo I've ever seen, Jerry. They pick and roll teams to death. Rick Barry was a great passer. Clifford Ray was a great rebounder, really good defender. But the main reason I'm going with Clifford Ray, and to be honest, I can't remember what his number was, which jersey was, which I'd have to look up.
That's okay.
I think he's still an assistant in the league, or was for a long time. I'm not sure, Clifford Ray.
No, not. I don't think he is now, but he was for a long time.
He was at Marine World, and in some of the gaps I got to fill in here, but he's at Marine World when they're in Redwood City.
Yeah, that's a great.
And Clifford Ray was, I think, 6'9", had very long arms, so he had his wingspan, tremendous.
7-foot wingspan, yeah.
And they had at Marine World USA a dolphin had ingested like a metal bolt somehow. It got in the water and it ingested it, and they're like, well, we got to get that out of there. That could be really damaging. How do we get it out? We need somebody with really long arms. Well, Clifford Ray is here today.
It's Clifford Ray?
Yeah.
Did they get on the little microphone? Clifford Ray, come on down!
I'm guessing that, hey, you're Clifford Ray, right? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, come here. Could you?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You got a second?
Yeah.
And he
I gotta go
reached
concession
in.
stand.
They took him back, and he reached into the. I assume they had the Dolphins sedated, and he actually reached in. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
And he
I'm Clifford
got
Ray.
the metal bolt out of the gullet of the dolphin and saved the dolphin's
And he
life.
saved the
Clifford
dolphin's life.
Ray.
That is one of the most amazing.
They should
Number
have
44, of course. Thank you.
You should have a Clifford
Thank you,
Ray
sir.
dolphin jersey.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
really should.
Yeah.
Now, it'd really been something if he'd have did it while the dolphin was swimming. Now that'd have been.
Or
I don't know.
Why it jumps up, it
Yeah.
breaks in.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. No worries.
Yeah, of course he was 44. Thank
Tremendous,
you.
tremendous
Yeah,
choice.
So that'd be the one I'd wear.
Tremendous choice, Jer.
I can't top that.
No, but you want me to go next because I'm kind of boring, and then you
Well,
can go last.
My guy is somebody that probably only a few Warriors fans remember. Charles Dudley.
Oh yeah, Charles Dudley.
Dudley on the 70s.
Oh, Charles Dudley.
Yep. The reason I have him is because my first year in coaching in junior college at Vincennes, Indiana, we were playing Moberly, Missouri, who won the National Junior College Championship, I think, that year. And Charles Dudley played for them, and they beat us like 35 points.
Oh, you
And I
couldn't
always
defend Dudley.
No, we couldn't. Or
You got to stop Dudley, Jared.
I said, boy, these guys are really good. We're going to get, if we don't get better, we're going to get a lot of this. So, but I always remember he was like, I never thought he'd be a pro, but I knew he was a pro compared to what we had at
He
the
was
time.
very limited as an NBA player, but he was a point guard, right?
Yeah, point guard, kind
Yeah.
of couldn't score. Kind of a Mateen Cleaves.
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
his time, maybe.
Uh-huh,
That's
uh-huh.
about
I
the way
like
I'd
that.
put
That's a
him.
good comp, Jared. Nicely
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I know.
That's what do.
I'm not surprised by it. No, not at all.
Okay.
What's that like when you're a coach and you got a big game and early on you got to call that first time out and deep down you know that we got no chance tonight?
Yeah, well, that was.
Have you ever felt that?
Yeah, I have. I always remember my first time out, my first interim stint. We were playing the Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, and that's why Phil Johnson had gotten fired before the All-Star break because of the 40-4 game.
Yeah.
And as I've told this story before, I called the first time out. We were down 12-6, and I said, "Guys, we're making a lot of progress."
That's coaching.
I
That's
mean-
coaching right there.
I mean, it actually was, but
Yeah.
I also knew, they're pretty good. They're
Yeah.
kind of, they're better than us.
Talent-wise, there's a little gap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Our guys in the huddle knew that.
Yeah.
Those other guys knew that.
Yeah.
Fans in the stands.
Yeah,
the
we
people-
knew that too,
And the
Jared.
people paying you on some level, they knew that.
They
too?
knew that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right.
Well, my guy is from another one of classmates of mine in college, back with Bill Walton and I when we had our classes together. Bill Walton and Henry Bibby on that UCLA team. This guy is like
Oh,
the
I
most
know.
under the radar great guy of all time, the most under the radar winner of all time. 2 championships as a college player, 4 as a pro, 1
Oh,
with
yeah.
those Warriors,
I know.
and
Yep.
3. Yeah, it's Keith Wilkes, aka Jamal
Jamal
Wilkes,
Wilkes.
and he literally, I think he went through the history of basketball with all these accolades, and basically no one knows him.
Yeah.
He's in the Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. A great winner, an All-American, a 2-time, I think, All-American in college, and a 4-time All-Star with all those rings. And yet he kind of was so quiet. He just tiptoed his way through, and I just saw a picture of him a little while ago. Looks like the same guy. It hasn't changed at all. Keith Wilkes, just forward with a very idiosyncratic shooting motion,
Yeah.
and it worked for him. And so I'm sure everyone tried to change it, but it worked for him. And he's just a great player with Bill Walton. He was a great player with Rick Barry, and then with the Lakers.
He was Rookie of the Year on that Warrior team with Clifford Ray. That
So
I was just
I'm
talking
wearing
about.
the Rookie of the Year jersey from
Was
his
he
first year.
41?
52. He was
52, yeah,
52. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Keith Wilkes, a.k.a. Jamal Wilkes, that's my guy to wear. I'm
that's
taking that jersey down
Yeah,
there.
that is one of the probably greatest players to nobody knows is a great player.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Oh, he was on the Warriors and the Lakers?
And the-
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah, played with Magic. And don't tell Phantom. I know Phantom likes to imagine he's friends with all these guys. Jamal Wilkes is literally one of my Facebook friends. So I'll tell you, I don't want him. I think
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
No kidding?
Yeah, and
What-
if
if
you,
he was my Facebook friend, I would have named
if you
him.
send
but I
him a
guess you
friend
didn't.
request, he'll probably accept. He just
Yeah.
it's one of those guys like,
Well.
yeah, okay, he just kind of accepts everything.
Oh, well,
but he literally
Okay,
is one of my.
Well, I'm glad it
Facebook
came to me to try to
Yeah.
bring him to the world's attention. You went with the guy with the dolphin. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dolphin
So how many great honorable mentions though? Because I'm thinking of Nate Thurman.
That's
for this
who I was
too.
almost
And,
going
I mean,
with.
there's so
Yeah.
many great warriors.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Purvis Short.
Purvis Short.
Oh gosh, Purvis Short.
Purvis could
Do you remember
delight
we
us.
were at a game against the Nets when Purvis scored 50
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Sleepy
that-
Talk
Floyd.
about just
Sleepy Floyd.
Talk about just scorers. They had a couple of them that they never passed it ever.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just took it and they just shot it. Yeah, Sleepy Floyd.
World Be Free.
Yeah,
You
World
know what
Be
I'll
Free.
always remember about Jamal Wilkes? One of the first times I got to sit close enough, it was media, like right there where you can hear everything. And Tommy Nunez was an official, and Jamal Wilkes was yelling at him about something. Then I remember, I guess he realized he'd made a mistake, but Jamal Wilkes going back there, Tommy, hey, Tommy, my bad, sorry. And I remember thinking, like, I didn't know players did that. I thought,
He's a different kind of cat, man. He was a different kind of guy.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was- yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the Warrior guys over the years. But obviously your favorite, of course, was Joe Barry Carroll for most.
Oh,
of
he loved him.
I rode a bus with him once. I remember I was riding a
Yeah.
bus from Fisherman's Wharf back to where I was staying in San Francisco, and Joe Barry Carroll got on the bus. Joe Barry. He's like, what are you doing on the Muni
You just
bus?
go overrated.
He was really good, but he just didn't care, right? He
Yeah.
could have been
He was marvelous
Yeah.
talent.
very
Yeah.
talented, but, he
But-
just wanted to read
yeah.
his books and
Yeah, well, I always say, he, basically made the Celtic franchise, by getting the third pick, which was McHale and
Right.
Robert Parrish, for the rights to
yeah.
take him number one.
Yeah.
That was not one of their better moments, was it?
No, it wasn't.
He's
It
a
didn't-
key
didn't
player
work
in history.
out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Just
see
not
why
for
they
playing.
did it, but they also got Ricky Brown in that deal. So you
Oh,
gotta-
yeah, well,
Even the scales, my friend.
factor
Yes.
that in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got to factor that in.
Hey, before we go, do you guys want to hear my new nickname for Steph Curry?
I guess we're going to have to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to,
Jerry,
yeah.
have you heard this at all in the
No.
car show? Or
No, he
anything?
didn't know. This is something I think say for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd love to.
And I'll be honest with you, it's something that I try. Sometimes you try stuff with other people, and then based
Right.
on the feedback, you decide whether to go forward or not.
Yeah.
The feedback was kind of like, wait, what? And I decided to go with it anyway, which is questionable judgment.
Wow,
But
that is questionable.
LeBron or Jordan is the GOAT, right?
I don't
Some
agree,
people
but
consider,
okay.
yeah, okay. The reason I thought of this is because after he beat the Jazz in overtime last week, LeBron was talking to the media, and in the background, you hear his teammates.
Yeah,
going,
they're doing the goats. Yeah.
meh, meh. They're making goat noises, and I guess D'Angelo Russell was leading that effort. So I was thinking, all right, if he's the GOAT, I'm tired of everybody. He's the GOAT, goat. Are there any other animals that we can compare NBA players to?
Can we stop?
And who's-
Can we change our mind on whether we want to hear this now?
Sure. Okay, that's fine.
What do you think?
Oh, I think we got to see it.
We got to
through.
go through. Okay, we got to
Yeah,
see
we
it.
got-
through.
Greatest
Sure.
of outside shooters ever. Steph Curry's the goose, man. Steph Curry is the goose. That's my nickname.
And then when he makes it, goose.
Honk.
Oh,
If
you're
LeBron's
honking,
the
yeah.
goat. And that's as a gooseneck, right? When
Yeah,
you have
oh,
a
yeah,
proper
goose,
follow
yeah.
through,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
considered the gooseneck. There.
Right. Yeah.
Honk, honk. So anyway, that's something we'll see. You'll see as the Kings play the Warriors. That'll become.
So-
you'll wonder why are they honking? Oh, that's because
You should head out to
Whitey
Golden
came
One
up with that
tonight
nickname.
and then go into the locker room. And then when they interview him, you make your goose noises. And then I'm sure that'll go over.
Yeah.
I bet, did you run that by Steph? I'm sure he'd
I'm
really like
thinking
that.
about it at least
Call
on
Steve.
Twitter.
Call
running it
Steve.
by him.
Yeah,
and
you know,
then
he
see if
talked to
Steve
Steve.
can go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Steph. Yeah.
Working on
Hey,
it.
Steve. Yeah, what do you think about
Yeah.
this?
I think I will tweet him and see what he thinks.
Hey,
but-
Steve, what's Goose going to do tonight? What's Goose going to do? How many threes for
See,
Goose
that sounds
tonight?
good.
I
Good,
like
that's
it.
good. Yeah.
I really kind of like
no
it.
Goose Givens.
Yeah.
but,
No.
yeah.
Speaking of Goose, did you see he's going to be in like a sitcom? I saw something come over yesterday. He's going to be in a sitcom,
Mr.
like
Throwback
a
is
real
the name of it.
sitcom, and that's
Yeah. Steph
I don't know
Curry
how I
is,
feel
yeah.
about that.
Wow.
Goose, Goose is yeah, Goose Curry.
It's already catching on.
Yeah,
Thanks,
well,
man.
Stone is trying to do the Goose, and Coco's like, what the heck is going on over here?
That was like an elephant with emphysema.
Yeah, that was not a good
Yeah.
goose. No, if
yeah,
you're gonna
good.
call it goose, you got to do a good goose because he's the best goose, right? He's the greatest of all outside
Can I still
shooters.
give you a ride home, or are you going to want to try get
You want to just go out
Uber,
and thumb?
Uber? Or,
Yeah, it's like.
Don't
All right,
take you
no,
home.
I'll make fun of you after I get out of the car.
All right.
Oh, that's going to be
fair
a great
enough.
car show going
need
home.
to-
I want to be
you
on
know,
that one.
we'll see you Monday.
Well, and
Yeah.
despite what happened, subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
Appreciate
Good call,
that.
Jer. Good
It's
call.
called
Appreciate
the
that.
pity factor.
See you next time on the OF3 Old Fashioned 3.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.